begin. Good evening. My name is Ann Hill. I'm the case manager for the Neighborhood NNORC program, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the second session of our Preparation Age workshops. Tonight's workshop is titled Prepare to Stay Connected. Throughout the presentation, you may ask questions through the chat button. And if you hover your mouse to the bottom of the screen, you can see that little bubble with the chat. You just click on that and you can type your question during the presentation. We encourage you to ask a lot of questions, so please don't be shy. We have two presenters here tonight. Our first presenter that we're going to hear from is Peggy Osborne. Peggy has worked in the aging field for 32 years. She has a bachelor's degree in sociology with a minor in gerontology. She has worked for the town of Bethlehem Senior Services for 20 years. She's the coordinator of senior services, and her main responsibility in her presentation is to run the volunteer transportation service. So welcome, Peggy. After we hear from Peggy, we're going to hear from Jennifer Plouffe, director of the NNORC program. So Peggy, take it away.
Thank you, Ann. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay. So this is something that's new to me, so be patient with me. But so I'll just share my slides here with you. Are we good with the slides? All right. Prepare to stay connected. Transportation is very important. And the phrase, it takes a village, doesn't apply to just children. It applies to every level of life, that everyone needs to help everyone else. And part of that is so people can remain independent. People often think of independence as seen as being able just to do it all by yourself and not need anybody. But that's not true. Independence is really about being able to making the decision to ask and accept help when needed. We don't know everything. We can't do everything ourselves. When we were children, our parents, teachers, and friends helped us to learn and grow. Young adults, we received help to find jobs, housing, and had mentors helping us be successful in life. As parents, we needed help raising children. Daycare, babysitting, transportation to sporting events and school events. Now, as older adults, you need assistance in other ways. It makes us independent by being able to say, I need help, and this is what I need help with. There's a lot of reasons for using transportation as you age. Some of them are short term. I've had a hip surgery or a knee surgery and I can't drive. I need to ride to PT. Some of them might be long term. You no longer can see like you did at one time. Your vision is really a big reason. But a lot of people, I always tell people, you want to try transportation out. Try it when you it's not long term. Go on the eye doctor, you're getting your eyes dilated. Try the transportation out, see how that works for you, what your needs are. I'm sorry. Oh. But when you've come to the point when you need transportation, you need to ask yourself some questions. You need to do the research to see what's available to you. There's a lot of things that people don't think about that are around them. First, you need to decide what your abilities and limitations are. Do you have a wheelchair? Do you use a walker or a rollator? Do you have vision issues? Can you get into a van that requires a few steps? Can you sit in a regular car? We have many people that use our transportation that can't get into the low cars, but then we have other people with our transportation that can't step into a van. So you have to decide what your needs are, what your abilities are, so you can decide what kind of transportation that you need. Then you need to decide what you need transportation for. In these days, since COVID, we now have the ability to have a lot of things delivered to us, like groceries, prescriptions. We also have the ability to do medical appointments online, but they're not always available to do that. So, do you need appointments to go to medical appointments, transportation for medical appointments, or for grocery shopping, banking? A lot of people need to go to the bank to withdraw money, to move money around, prescriptions. So some places deliver, but not all deliver. And some don't deliver, have limitations on when they deliver. So your social organizations, church, you want social clubs that you belong to, a quilting group or a men's group, how do I get to those things? And so you need to decide what's important for you, and then you need to see who's around you. Okay. My philosophy has always been, use the family for the fun stuff, use us for the boring stuff. Because you know what? You don't want to waste the family on the boring stuff if they don't need to go to the bank or go to get your prescriptions. Then they're more likely to utilize, you can utilize your family more if they're not doing the everyday daily things that you need to get. You also have to decide what you want to spend on transportation. Now you can, most senior service type transportation is on donation basis, a suggested donation. And that means what you feel you can afford to pay for transportation. But if you want a little more, like if you went Uber or Lyft, you're going to pay a lot more for transportation. The other thing is, if you have more needs where you are, maybe if somebody is bedbound or needs more transportation that a senior place cannot do, then you're going to pay a little bit more for those. And who do you have in your system around you that can assist? A lot of senior centers don't do transportation to church, but many churches have volunteers that are more than willing to transport other members of their place of worship. You just need to call their main office and say, do you have people that are willing to volunteer? Maybe it's not something they've done before. Maybe they'll start it because of your request. They don't know people need it until they ask. So we have families and friends. We definitely, family is available. I hear a lot from seniors that say, well, my kids are busy. My kids don't, work and they can't take me here. I don't want to ask my kids. But you need to ask them, because maybe they want to go to that appointment with you to hear what the doctors say. And like I said, they would be better to use for to fun things. Maybe you go out to lunch after a doctor's appointment or after you do some errands. Public transportation is available in the Capital District, and unfortunately, when you live in the suburban areas, they're a little bit more, it's a little less available, but CDTA does have guides to help people use public transportation. They will match people with somebody to help them learn the system. So if you do have a bus near you, a bus line, just call the CDTA and ask for assistance and learning the bus routes. Taxis, oh, I got a misspelling in my thing. Taxis, Ubers, Lyft. They're Uber and Lyft. I've run into many older adults that are using Uber, Lyft. You need a smartphone to do it. Again, the farther you are from a city, the more expensive it is, because you're pulling, most of your Uber and Lyft drivers are in the cities. You have to do it through an app. But in some of that, many young people are teaching seniors how to use their phones. We here in the town of Bethlehem have a program, Tech and Teens and Tech, where the teens will come here and have an appointment with a senior for a half an hour and sit, and whatever the senior wants to learn, they'll sit and they'll explain it. So if you want to learn how to use Uber, you might see if there's one of these tech programs around. I know the Albany Guardian Society also has a great program where they're starting to do the same thing, have different classes on using technology. We also have private transporters. Those are the ones where if you have more difficulty getting around, where you may need a stretcher for someone, or more advanced, you have places like Amazing Grace. One of your handouts tonight that's, I think, attached is a list of transportation. And in it, Albany Guardian Society has put out a booklet, Transportation Options for Seniors and for Senior Adults. In that, they go over all the available transportation that's available in the Capital District. And you can easily access that online at the Albany Guardian Society. And I also have a link on that handout. And then your senior transportations. We are very lucky in the Capital District. Many of your towns and cities do have access to transportation. But it's, there's limitations. That's why you need to call and do your research and find out what they have to offer. The hours, our hours, just as an example, here at the town of Bethlehem, our appointment times between 8:30 and 2. Our drivers are all volunteers, so we want to get them off the road before rush hour and things start Monday through Friday. But sometimes we will transport somebody one way that already maybe one of their children or a family or friend can pick up on the other end. So there are different ways of combining transportation. And again, that is to ask the questions. How can I have this appointment? How can I get to it? What's available to me? Also, if you're concerned about whether you or somebody you care about, caregiving, should not be driving, the Office for the Aging has put out an excellent book, Are You Concerned with an Older Driver? Questions and concerns. things to think about how to present that to a person about how to stop driving, whether they should be stop driving, whether they need assistance of how to find help to get tested to see if they should be driving. Again, that is on my, I'm going to change my slides here. Stop sharing. This should be attached to your for today, and you can see where the Albany Guardian Society is listed. If you click on the blue, where it's blue, that'll take you to their site so you can download their book. It's either online or you can request to have one sent. The Albany County Department for Aging does provide a lot of transportation all through Albany County. You have to give them a few days notice. You have to register with them. They use some of the senior centers, that senior services around town, like Colony, Ravenna, use their buses. Sometimes they use taxis type things to pick people up. You want to give them enough notice, and they will pick you up and bring you. And I believe their hours extend past the 5. You just have to have the information of who to call when you're returning. And that even goes into the hill towns and Altamont, any place in Albany County. So the Cancer Society, now they may be limited on volunteers right now, but they do have volunteers to go take somebody back and point. So you may, this would be an organization you may want to coordinate with. Maybe it's like our services, Town of Bethlehem, have us do 2 or 3 days a week, have the Cancer Society do 2 or 3 days. That way it's not one organization who can't maybe do it all. Here's information on the paratransit services. It's the STAR program with CDTA, which you do have to register for and have a disability. There's a whole big questionnaire, but it is an option for many people. STAR will pick you up at your home and bring you to your location. We also have a couple of community groups that have volunteers, called like community caregivers, and we have one here in the town called Bethlehem Neighbors. Both of those groups have volunteers not only to help with transportation, but other needs around. So all of these are available. Jewish Family Services Project 5 has transportation. If you are Jewish, you just give them a call and work with them on what they can provide. And on the bottom here is that New York State Older Drivers Family Assistance Project. You can download the book. If you have questions, take a look at it. It's a really great handout the state has put together for people who are not sure if they should be driving or their loved ones should be driving anymore, and how to go from there. I think that's all. I guess we'll have questions and answers after, when everybody's done. So let me stop sharing that. Okay. Oh,
Thank you, Peggy. That was great information. I really appreciate how you put everything in that attachment, in that Word document. That was easy to read, and people can easily access that information. So thank you for that, and thank you for being here tonight. Our next presenter is somebody who probably doesn't need a whole lot of introduction. I'm happy to introduce Jennifer Plouffe. She's an LMSW and she's the Albany NORC director. Jennifer has over 15 years of geriatric social work experience working with older adults in a variety of settings, including hospice and multiple aging friendly communities. Prior to starting her work with JFS of Northeastern New York and the Albany NORC program, Jennifer was the Director of Aging Service for Bennington County at the Southwestern Vermont Council on Aging. While there, she was part of a variety of working groups, including the Adult Protective Services Advisory Committee to the Commissioner of the Department of Disabilities, Aging, and Independent Living. Prior to that, she was the Community Social Worker for Better Housing Coalition in Richmond, Virginia, helping older adults age in place in the least restrictive environment and in the setting of their choice. The concept of a neighborhood NORC is not new to Jennifer. She attended Virginia Commonwealth University, earning her Bachelor and Master of Social Work degrees. While pursuing her graduate degree, she interned at JFS of Richmond, where one of her capstone projects was researching the many different NORC models across the country. She also worked for JFS program Independence for Seniors, helping lower income residents age in place while assessing for any emerging or unmet needs and assisting residents with accessing needed services and supports. In her free time, Jennifer exercises her passion for animal rescue, organic gardening, taking care of her menagerie of four-legged fur kids, all rescue animals, and spending time with her mother, brothers, niece, and nephews. So thank you, Jennifer, for being here tonight, and you've got the floor.
Thank you, Anne, for your introduction, and thank you to everybody who took time out of their evening to be part of this series. Let me share my screen so I can start my slides for you. Perfect. So preparation age, prepare to stay connected. So I'll be covering the following topics: the importance of staying connected and preventing social isolation, what are NORCs and what is the village movement, how to resources and services for older adults and how to access, and then ways to stay connected. They'll be presenting in that order. So what does it mean to be socially connected? So I have, being a little bit of a nerd and a student at heart, I have a little vignette for folks. So this is a vignette of Betty Smith. In the morning, she frequently walks to neighborhood cafe to have coffee with her best friend. In the afternoon, she likes to go to the local senior center, where her favorite activities are water aerobics classes and playing bridge. In the evenings, she often calls her daughter to chat and likes to send emails and pictures to her grandchildren in college. She has a lot of social connections. As you can see by this hub and spoke model, she has touched on almost every one of these. So proximity, respect, fun, generosity. So being able to feel like you're contributing to meaningful interactions. So why is this important? Why is social connectedness important, and what does that really mean? So a person's level and quality of contact with other people is really what social connectivity means. And why is it important? So it's key to healthy aging. So studies have shown that older people who have close connections and relationships not only live longer, but also cope better with health conditions and experience less depression. Life transitions can impact a number and quality of people's social and community networks. For example, friends and family members may move away. One of the, I think, maybe drawbacks for some folks of living into their 80s and 90s is that oftentimes we outlive our natural supports and cohorts and our friends. So, but also there can be a transition that is positive too, like the birth of a new family member, which can bring positive changes. So reciprocal relationships are important for older people's sense of self-worth and as a motivator for continued social engagement. So there are a variety of different life circumstances that can affect one's social connectedness. So changes in health and ability, people's ability to walk and get around, people's ability to access transportation if they're no longer able to drive. Changes in work status and income can often play into people's ability to remain connected. Changes in living environments, loss of family and friends, particularly a spouse, commuting challenges. When driving is no longer an option, isolation becomes a significant issue, as Peggy had mentioned, especially in communities where there's little to no public transportation. So social connection for older adults is critical. It's critical in playing an essential role in both mental, emotional, and physical health. So I really appreciated and enjoyed a few of these sayings here because it really speaks to why it's important to have intentional interactions with folks. And if you don't have them naturally, to really look to find them and to reach out and be intentional to make sure that you're getting what you need. We're all human beings. We all thrive off of human connectivity and being able to enjoy each other's company. And for some of us, that is easier than others. For some of us, maybe social connectivity is not necessarily a major issue for them. And for some folks, maybe some people don't want to be as social as other people, but there's gradations of this, and there's ways to be able to meet those needs no matter what. But being able to stay enthusiastic, wanting to learn new skills, and wanting to make sure that you stay connected in your community is key to healthy aging. So there's a variety of ways that folks can stay connected, and really a lot of it is just being as creative as you can and knowing the resources around you. So it can be really important to think about activities that you enjoy and look around your community for ways to get involved. Consider the local Y, a community center, a senior center, congregate meal site, or a local place of worship. Volunteering is a great way to give back and to feel that sense of value and importance, and to feel good about being able to give back to other folks. And it has the benefit of being able to enhance that connectedness to the world and to really look outward, and pulls us out of ourselves in that connection. Technology can be a really fantastic tool to stay connected, especially for those folks who may be more homebound. So I encourage folks, as intimidating as it can be, to keep up with the vastly changing technology out there. I really encourage you to try as much as you can to stay connected through whether it's social media, email, snail mail. There's a variety of ways to stay connected, and just making sure that you're up to speed on technology, because there's various ways to communicate and stay in touch with your loved ones. Sharing pictures through email and social media, having a video conversation on your computer. When I lived in Virginia, I oftentimes Skyped with my folks. They were many miles away, but that being able to see them and talk to them in real time and be able to see their environment, that familiar environment, they can see my environment, was invaluable and really helped to kind of close those many miles. It's important if you have an interest in taking a class or learning something new. There's lots of colleges that allow folks to audit classes, but there's also a lot of opportunities within the community, whether, like I had mentioned, a senior center, to be able to maybe paint, learn to cook, take an educational or creative writing class, create a memoir of your life to date, keep an active mind. And who knows, you may find a friend in that class. Your new skills will improve your confidence, which helps social interaction to become more pleasurable. Try alternative therapies. So consider being a pet owner. There are many adult animals looking for a new owner, and walking a pet is a great way to meet people. It's a great conversation starter. Learn more about the benefits of maybe something like massage or aromatherapy and give it a try. Consider perhaps different housing. So it might make sense to weigh the pros and cons of moving to a different locale or different living arrangement where there's just many more opportunities to meet and socialize with others. And be active. So not only is physical activity vital in preventing falls, but it's also an amazing way to meet other people. When older adults are invited, accompanied, and encouraged by others to engage in physical activity, it can have a positive effect on their physical and mental well-being. So organized activities like group exercise classes can help boost the immune system, decrease physical pain, and lower blood pressure. Even taking a short walk within the community to meet up with friends can help maintain physical fitness. Plus, peer pressure in this regard is very welcome. So in general, cast a wide net and see what sticks. It usually takes some amount of effort, but the results can be priceless, especially for healthy aging. I think I've covered this. So I wanted to highlight there, for those folks who wonder why I mentioned the whole pet piece, oftentimes when I talk to folks about maybe adopting an animal, one of their concerns is affordability, as well as being able to take care of them, or the concern that you might outlive them. There are, in every state I've lived, there's always been a Senior for Seniors program through the local Humane Society that will allow you to adopt an older animal. It will provide all of the medical expenses, food, anything that animal needs. Your job is just to love them and take care of them. And it's a great opportunity to kind of have that connectedness to another being. So as I mentioned in a previous slide, that oftentimes it may mean you may need to consider maybe a change of location. So looking in a community where there might be some natural supports. So for many older adults who've lived most of their lives in communities that provide naturally occurring opportunities for social connection, including social clubs, veterans organizations, churches, and the workplace, and workplace sponsored activities, the idea of being intentional about social connection is foreign. But in order to combat social isolation, one must be intentional in their efforts. As mentioned, in considering different housing opportunities, the NNORC model is one of those opportunities. So the NNORC, generally speaking, we have a NNORC right here in Albany. This model aims to promote healthy aging in place by providing a range of community-based health, social, educational, and wellness services through community partnerships and by creating safe and livable community environments for adults. Naturally occurring retirement communities, or NNORCs, they are one of the longest standing models for age-friendly community initiatives. Currently, there's over about 270 age-friendly community initiatives documented in the United States alone, and many models include direct service components, including or in addition to community planning activities. So while NNORC models vary across the country, they all include a focus on engaging in deliberate and collaborative activities to enhance social and or physical environments with a defined and within a defined and local geographic area to promote health, well-being, and aging in place for older adults. So our Albany NNORC provides pretty much all of these in partnership with JFS. And so if you are lucky enough to live within our 3 square mile catchment area, maybe some of you have been able to partake of some of these offerings. It's a great model. So there is also something called the Village Movement. And the Village Movement is a little bit different from the NORC, mostly because of how, the type of participants, the way it's staffed, the scope of services, and how they're funded. And as you can see in this grid that I provided for everybody, sort of the concierge village, there's one in, I believe, Beacon Hill in Boston. So higher income older adults who are relatively healthy, but it's sort of an a la carte opportunity. So you pay into a membership fee and you're able to receive different types of services and supports in the home, maybe some handyman services, anything that you would need to really be able to maintain your independence in the home. Then there's the all volunteer village model, and that's exactly what it means. So it's mostly run member to member, and usually neighbors to neighbors helping each other. And there's usually membership fees are typically low, and not as kind of a little more less intense than the concierge village model. So there's a variety of resources, and I believe this has been sent out in a handout as well as another resource page here. But when you are looking at navigating the matrix of services for older adults, one of the places that you want to start is either 211, which is really a no wrong door opportunity. So from there, you call into 211, you essentially state what you're looking for, and the people on the other end, our job is to connect you with those resources. One of the top ones that you'll hear about is an area agency on aging, or a AAA. They have a variety of services and supports out there for older adults. And I really encourage folks, if you haven't, to look them up, get on the website, and really see what's available to you. Another one is the Elder Care Locator. And then the one that I have on here, the Connect to Effect one, that one really rang true. That one rang true to me in the respect that you can actually take a little bit of a self-assessment here to determine whether or not you could benefit from increased social isolation or increased social activity to prevent social isolation. So for folks that are looking for resources in that regard, Connect to Effect is a fantastic service. JFS provides a variety of services as well. For those, I might have mentioned this, but for those folks who are homebound, friendly visitors are a fantastic way for folks to be able to stay connected and to their community and have someone to talk to on a regular basis. If you're receiving Meals on Wheels or home delivered meals, you can anticipate that you're going to have somebody coming by your home to connect with you, even briefly. And another really great resource is telephone reassurance. So it's really a call you can set up with volunteers to call you on a regular basis and get to know each other and have something to look forward to. So it's not just dependent on your ability to get out into community. There's many opportunities to be able to bring community to you. So just to kind of wrap things up, loneliness and social isolation can be really dangerous to people's health long term. Communities like villages and NORCs provide just a variety of services and support activities to help people stay connected, whether you choose to volunteer, do some intergenerational work with some kiddos, join a hobby, go for a walk, adopt a dog, do something to make sure that you are staying socially connected. There's a ton of research out there that talks about all the different negative impacts from lack of social connectedness and protracted periods of social isolation. And coming out of COVID, couldn't be more important now than it ever was. I think that's So if anybody has any questions or questions, just feel free to type them into the chat.
Great, thank you, Jennifer. I agree that you have to be really intentional when it comes to making friends and getting out of your home. It's very difficult to do. I see it every day, and I think it's hard for everybody, not just older adults. But I appreciate how you emphasized that you have to work hard at it and kind of keep on doing that over and over. So, all right, let's get to some questions. I see a few in the chat. There was a question about the NNORC program, right as Jennifer was getting to that slide. And thank you, Jane, for putting the link to the NNORC map so everybody can see where the boundary is. And if you live in the NNORC, you should definitely contact us. There was a question here in the chat. This is probably directed towards you, maybe, Jennifer, because of your hobbies and interests in animals and animal rescue. There's a question that says, is there a humane society in the capital region that provides elderly animals to elderly folks with assistance as needed?
Yes, I believe the Mohawk Hudson Humane Society. And then I know that there is another one. It's just the name is escaping my memory currently, but I would be happy to grab that information and follow back up. But I know Mohawk Hudson Humane has had this at least once a year, at least for the last few years I've lived here.
And also Albany Guardian Society is doing a Pet Week program, and they have several virtual pet related topics, and I believe that starts next Monday. If people go to the Albany Guardian Society website to see them talk about, losing a pet, things to consider when having a pet. So they may be interested in looking at that too.
Excellent, thank you. Here is a comment by a participant. Many of us take classes in our homes on Zoom from the 92nd Street Y in New York City, or see one-time lectures. Also available is the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, OLLI, a country-wide program, although it could be international through colleges and universities. On her screen, her classes there are people from Texas, California, Florida, Utah, Connecticut, Massachusetts. Classes are affordable, and there are also bonus lectures to which we are invited. This person is enrolled through Berkshire Community College, but one of my classmates is a woman from Del Mar, is also enrolled in the program. This program is an amazing gift, opening a tremendous world to all who are mostly at home. Oh, that's really interesting. Thank you.
A really great example of being able to bring to you that opportunity.
And if anybody has, especially NNORC residents, if you have a problem kind of connecting to Zoom or learning difficulty understanding the technology, we provide I think once a month, right, Jennifer?
We're getting ready to go to twice a month soon because we've had that much interest. So it's very exciting. Computer skills class. Computer skills. Yep. Thank you. There are a couple of people who didn't receive the handout. Maybe they registered late. So we can certainly email that to you. We'll email everybody the handouts again. And this is a question or a comment. What if you want to live in the NNORC or the neighborhood NNORC? And just to reiterate, the NNORC stands for Naturally Occurring Retirement Community. And we have the pleasure in Albany of having a neighborhood NNORC through the State Office of the Aging grant. Do you just find a realtor to help you? Great question. Do you want to take that one, Jennifer? Yeah, I mean, I know in the past we've had at least one person that I know of from out of the county who is looking to find an area where they could be more socially active and connected, and actually ended up working out, selling their house and moving into the NORC. So it's a really great opportunity. And to Ann's point, really just working with a realtor to make that happen. And I will say that all of our NORC services are free and voluntary. So everything that we do, is optional. All the services we provide are free. And like Ann had mentioned, we are grant funded in part through the New York State Office of Aging, with contribution from Jewish Family Services.
This participant says that she moved to be in the NORC, which is great, but realtors might not know about the program.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good idea to maybe contact realtors and show them the map. So that's a great point, and something that we've talked about internally as a group, and which we're working on. So thanks for that comment. This person says that she signed up for the Beacon Hill Village e-newsletter and occasionally have virtually attended amazing lectures co-sponsored by the Boston Public Library and the Village. Excellent. As far as gyms, in addition to the local YMCAs, the Albany JCC has a fantastic gym and pool. So thank you for that. I agree, it does have a great gym and pool. And if you, many health insurance programs, the Medicare Advantage specifically, I know that CDPHP has a Silver Sneakers program. So if you are a member of CDPHP's Medicare Advantage program, you might qualify for a free JCC membership. That's a really great program. So thanks for that comment. Somebody put in the chat for a website for OLLI or OSHR. Maybe somebody can find that website and put it in the chat button. Oh, they're all over the country. Okay. And Jane wanted to point out that there's also a Bethlehem Neighbors Village and Niskayuna Neighbors Village, and there continues to be an effort to get another Albany village off the ground.
Mm-hmm. I will also say that the JCC is a congregate meal site as well. So if you are looking to have a meal with company, it's a great resource.
Okay, anything else? Just type your questions in the chat. We'd love to read them and answer them, hopefully. Okay. I believe your slide, Jennifer, did you have your email address included in your slide?
I did.
Okay, and you too, Peggy?
No, I didn't put that on, but it is on the attachment.
Okay.
Or I could put it right now in the chat, I guess.
That would be great. Thanks. It looks like I'll wait for you to put that in the chat.
And there's one question, this is Jane, sorry. There's one question for Peggy, that are there transportation resources in more rural areas such as Castleton? So I can say what I had said earlier in the chat too, which is that JFS does provide some rides out to other areas. It just depends on the availability of volunteers, and community caregivers does too. There are definitely some other volunteer resources for volunteer driving. Castleton's not that far, but indeed, it's just a matter of finding them. And Peggy, I'm not sure if you had any more information. Certainly all the different transportation resources we listed are definitely worth a call.
I think that with that, I think Castleton might be in Rensselaer County.
Mhm.
And I would contact their office for the aid because I do know there is transportation. And they would be the resource to check with first.
Every county should have a department for the aging. So it doesn't, if you live in Rensselaer County, that's exactly right, Peggy. You should contact your county. Albany, I believe every single county in New York City is a little bit different, but it's a great resource.
And if can also go to the state online if you're having trouble, because I do know some counties have different names for their Office for the Aging. So if you go to New York State Office for the Aging, they also have I think links to their local offices for the aging.
I also believe the Guardian Society puts out a transportation guide yearly and is updated, and it is a very comprehensive, well put together almost book. And so if you are looking to get your hands on one of those for 2022, we have some in our office, and you're welcome to obviously contact the Guardian Society directly.
The link is also on my attachment to the Guardian Society so that you can get to it.
And also right there in the chat. Thanks, Rachel. Well, I'm going to wrap up, and I just wanted to say thank you so much to Peggy and to you, Jennifer, for all the great information and insights. And I know that there will be more questions coming. There were last time, and we appreciate you just sending them, emailing us, and we will try to include them in the next session or just answer you directly. And then, as I mentioned in our last session last week, we are going to be sending out a little recap for all of the different sessions that we've had, the questions that have been asked, and to make sure that we can answer everything and, of course, give all the resources. So before I end tonight, there are a couple of just last minute things. I wanted to again thank all of our sponsors, St. Peter's Health System, Health Partners, and Albany Med Health System, Karen Glazer, licensed associate real estate broker with Coldwell Banker Prime, Congregation Beth Abraham Jacob, Congregation B'er Shalom, Temple Israel, Harris Beach Attorneys at Law, Ophthalmic Plastic Surgery, Dr. Bulatis and Dr. Meyer, and Jewish Federation of Northeastern New York, the Ted Strauss Fund. I also wanted to make sure that everyone knows that next week we will be talking about advanced directives and other important planning documents with Miles Fisher, who actually is an attorney with Harris Beach. Very much looking forward to that one. I know that there are a lot of questions that have come in advance. So I want to make sure that you know to attend next week, and please share it with your friends. Tomorrow morning, we'll be sending out an evaluation. We really got great feedback last week. And we appreciate your feedback tomorrow as well. And again, remind you that JFS is here to answer a lot of the questions that we've had tonight, whether it's and also to provide other services. We do counseling and accept Medicare and lots of other insurances. We have support groups for grief and loss and other coping with change, etc. We have case management, and we have so much more. As I mentioned, and we put in the links, there are opportunities for more information. This program has been put on by the Senior Resource Network of Jewish Family Services, led by our very own Linda Schrager. So thank you very much. And we will look forward to seeing you next Tuesday night on the 15th for more. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.